Namaste. So, I want to talk about spirituality and what does it actually mean. Uh, to me personally, spirituality is something not elusive or something non-tangible. To me, spirituality is evident, it's a factual, it is, I do not doubt it. There is a higher self, there is a spirit world, there is energy and the world which is coexisting with ours, and yet it is separate. Spirituality is also knowing that we are part of something greater, we are part of a greater design, that we all have a purpose and role to play in this plane, and at the same time there is a role to play and knowledge to acquire or to share with or to receive on a different plane. And I always talk about balance, because many times, and it is that when you're spending time within yourself in a deep meditative space, away from the distractions from different inputs, that the ascent to higher levels is faster. It is also more sustainable, because we, in our human experience, we are tempted. We, in our human experience, we have a lower energy and higher energy. They do not cancel each other, and they should not be canceling each other. Unfortunately, most of the people living in this plane and space, they are stuck and happily coexist and only exist in the lower energies, because we perceive lower energies as more tangible, as more real. And when I'm talking about lower and higher, I don't mean worse and better. I'm not talking about good and evil. The concepts, these are all constructs. Nothing is truly good, nothing is truly bad. Everything is, and everything has time, space, and purpose. Lower energies are survival energies. That is the food, so into yourself. It is procreation, so sexual energy. It is the survival energy. So they're very primal energies, and without them you cannot exist, or you will very quickly cease to exist. Okay, you need the food, you need shelter, right? Well, we can debate, do you need or not need to procreate, but it is one of the most powerful driving forces. That is, look at the entire animal kingdom. So those are primal forces. These are what we call lower energies. Higher energies are the ones, so lower energies is another thing, is into yourself, for yourself. So for your survival, for your substance, for your pleasure. Higher energies are love, empathy, consciousness. Higher energies are good for others as well. They're expanding energies. And in order for any one of us to expand and ascend, we have to satisfy our basal needs and basic needs. Now, how much is enough? When it is enough? So that is where the murky and the gray area of existence spent, because the overdoing or doing it too much. There is a greed, there is gluttony, there is sexual deviations. If the energies are used only to benefit yourself in access, that is what can prevent the ascent and onto the higher levels and experiencing the higher energies. Now, at the same time, if you're only spending time in the higher energies, that is possible in the environment. Therefore, people go to ashrams, they go to mountains, they go into the solitude, because those temptations and everything is kind of already stripped away. Now, where I work and what I feel is the real art, and that can be taught, is how can I live in the competitive world with everything that competitive world wants, which means, again, my ego gets in the way, because ego wants to be praised, ego wants to be considered successful, ego wants to be admired, right? And how do we measure success? How do we become admired? How do we show? There is a celebrity, there is a being known, there is a finances, there is the cars you wear, cars you drive in, clothes you wear, bags, jewelry, etc., etc., etc. So that is ego, that sort of materialistic is, and that is when it gets very easy to get sidetracked, because how much is enough? Because usually you get one level, it's like, now I got here, I want something more, I want something more, I want bigger car, bigger house, better. Okay, so it kind of feeds into another, and it's very easy to get sidetracked to the point that we forget the higher levels. We forget higher energies, because they are much more subtle. They're expanding energies. They are the ones that go beyond us and our need and our family's need. So the art is living in a competitive world, being competitive and everything that goes with it, and having an ego that needs an occasional pat on the shoulder, and at the same time knowing that you're more than that, knowing that there are things that are going to give you much more satisfaction and pleasure, which is not physical, which is not tangible in this sense, but actually is much more rewarding, which is the more you're giving it, the more it's coming back to you, which is multiplying. And in order to be both and to have a balance of both, you have to strip yourself of your ego, not to take yourself too seriously, not to laugh at yourself as well, to be in a way childish in your openness for exploration, being a student of something all the time, because the moment I'm saying, oh, I know, or I am big, or I have achieved, it is ego talking. So to learn how to acknowledge that same ego, give in to some splurge or two, and know that that is not necessarily real, that that is one part of this plane. What is actually more real are the things that are less obvious, are the things that are subtle, are the things that last longer. So finding that balance, that I am who I am in my professional field, I do own what I own. I want my business to grow. I want my business to expand. I want more people to benefit from the services I provide them. And at the same time, my goal, my mission, my higher purpose is to get people to be more forgiving towards themselves, to be more empathetic towards themselves, to be more accepting towards themselves. Because the more you are forgiving, loving, accepting of yourself, you will be more accepting, loving, and forgiving towards others, because the energy that starts in you is the energy that you project, that is the energy that comes back. And when you do that, you start actually experiencing higher energies. So that way, when you're looking at the material world, you can appreciate it for what it brings to the table, because again, nothing is truly bad or truly evil, truly good. Things are as they are, everything is. So there is a purpose and there are benefits to things from the material world. And there are benefits in the spiritual world. So to me, once you start experiencing this and opening yourself, that is when the spiritual world opens to you. And that is how you can start becoming more intuitive, how you're going to see things that are not visible. In my case, I'm a medium, so the spirits, usually when there is a message to be conveyed, I receive that message to convey. And you start walking the path in this life, guided by that divine energy, with the guides and spiritual guidance, as well as the spirits coming when they need to guide you through the place. And being a channel, my job is to give a message for whom it's meant to. And that would make a sense and will land where it needs to land. So in order to get into this space and to open ourselves to this, there is a groundwork to be, to sort of understand that what things are and see them for what they are. Again, without judgment, without prejudice, because there is something good in everything. And at the same time, and we need to satisfy those needs. And at the same time, knowing there is more. Knowing that while it may at first seem as very elusive and it may seem as very subtle, the more you're letting go of here or don't take it too seriously from here, the more this becomes tangible. Till you actually are able to walk both of these paths at the same time. Because the spiritual world you will become more aware and attuned to when you're in meditative state or a state of trance. So all of those are the steps that we will talk about some other time. But I just wanted to share this, that there are so many more things within this life to be open to. And things that seem as real, as solid as truths are not the only truths. Is not the only thing that is real. This is very real as well. When you choose to start opening yourself up and to attune yourself. So once you loosen a little bit of grip here, and you start accepting, forgiving, loving yourself first, then others, that is the pathway towards the higher energies. So on that note, love and light to all.